Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah
Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah
Yahweh.
Barakatah
Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah
Yahweh.
Barakatah
Yahweh Shai. All right, we want to give all praise going down to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakodash. We want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Love and peace and salutation to you hopeful elect brothers out here pushing the truth across the four corners of the globe. To you sincere sisters that are watching, I want to say shalom, as well as the Israelite foreigners that are of the elect, that are scattered across the globe. All right, I want to say shalom. They look like unto the other nations. I want to say shalom to you as well. Today we're just going to go, the name of this lesson we're going to go is, I'm topping, don't be a slave to pleasure is the name of this lesson. Don't be a slave to pleasure. All right, because in this flesh, you know, it desires, all right, the things of this world, all right, and it'll have you going off, all right, if you don't put it under subjection, all right. It'll have you more into, all right, the comfort of this life and this world, all right, than you are, all right, being spiritual and into the scriptures, you know, and following Yahweh Shai, you know, to the best of your ability, man. All right, so first we're gonna get the phrase, what does being a slave to pleasure mean? All right, I'm brother Ashkayah, and I got the brother
Babylon.
All right, yeah, we're from the Indianapolis camp. All right, get that for me.
Yeah, this is this AI overview, you know, on that question of what does being a slave to pleasure mean on Google. All right, it says being a slave to pleasure means allowing the desire for immediate gratification, comfort, and external rewards to dictate your actions, leading to a loss of freedom and self-control.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of acting on values and goals, you become dependent on superficial pleasures, which ultimately cause you to be controlled by these desires, much like a slave is controlled by a master.
All right, so you'll be controlled by the lust, all right, of the eyes or the pleasures of this life. All right, so you don't want to get caught up to being a slave to pleasure. All right, and it's easy to get caught up to that because this flesh wants what it wants. All right, but you have to separate yourself, all right, from this flesh. All right, you have to put this flesh in subjection, not the flesh put your spirit in subjection, man. So we're going to start at 1 Corinthians 9, and I'm going to start at verse 27. It said, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. All right, so you don't want to be a hypocrite, all right, out here teaching brothers, all right, and you have no self-control. You have no control over your flesh. You have no control over anything in your life. All right. The scriptures say to be. Matter of fact, can you get that? Yeah.
This is the book of Romans chapter 8 and verse 6.
Yeah, start at verse 6.
Or start at verse 5.
Yeah, start wherever you want.
It's the book of Romans chapter 8 and verse 5. It say, for they that are after the flesh do mind things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Right? And that's why it's important. Being a man of the Lord is super important to try to stay in the spirit, man. All right, because if you stand in the spirit, all right, you're that flesh. All right, it's actually, there's a analogy that the brother Kaya brings up all the time here in Indianapolis about how you have in your body you have a fleshly wolf and a spiritual wolf, man. All right, so the one that you feed more, all right, that's gonna be the one that takes over, man. All right, so if you feed that spiritual wolf, hey, you're gonna become more spiritual, man. All right, you're always gonna stay in the spirit. All right, but if you do things of the flesh, or you feed that fleshly wolf, that's what's gonna begin to take over, man. All right, so you gotta constantly feed your spirit as a man of the Lord. All right, because being a man of the Lord, your flesh is something that you have to conquer. All right, because being in the flesh, all right, you're gonna constantly be seeking after things of this world, man. All right. Which ultimately it can lead you down a dark path, man, and to your destruction. All right, but if you constantly trying to stay in the spirit, man, all right, create a relationship with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, you're gonna do things of the spirit, and you're gonna grow spiritually, man.
Yep.
All right.
And that's what it's about at the end of the day. All right, it's growing spiritually, especially now. All right, in the times that we're living in. All right, you shouldn't even be worried about, being pleasurable. Not saying, all right, that you're gonna have your moments where, because it's all about a balance. You're gonna have times where you might, enjoy your woman or whatever, or just hang out. Might go watch a fight or things of that nature. All right, but you can't get too caught up into none of this. All right, because all this is about to come to an end. All right, I'm gonna keep reading on this Romans 8. All right, it said, verse 7 said, because the carnal mind is at enmity against Yahweh, for it is not subject to the law of Yahweh, neither indeed can be. So your flesh is not worried about, all right, what Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has to say. All right, it's worried about what you got going on in your life. All right, whether it be with a woman, want to have sex with a woman all the time. All right, or whether you want to chase money all the time at work all day 24/7. All right, we know we need money, but that shouldn't be your main focal point. If anything is coming between you and Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you need to cut it off. All right, you have to cut it off. So the scriptures say, what? Choose ye this day who you will serve. Are you going to serve, all right, your own self, your own pleasures, or are you going to serve Yahweh Bashim Yahushai? And like I said, it's easy to get caught up into that world of pleasing your flesh. All right, verse 8 says, verse 8 says, so then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Verse 9 said, but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his. So you have to have, your main, like I said, your main focal point, which the brother thought I want to bring out a good analogy that Kaya brings out all the time. The brother Kaya brings out all the time. All right, if you're feeding this flesh, all right, guess what? Your desires are going to be towards this world. All right, and if you're feeding your spirit, all right, you're gonna be you're gonna be in the videos. You're gonna get this to read. All right, you're gonna want to be around brothers. All right, you're really not gonna get caught up into your own world like that, man. All right, you got something?
It's not it's not like an easy battle. All right, because Apostle Paul, he spoke about it in Romans 7. So I'm gonna get a couple verses from there. This is the book of Romans chapter 7. And I'm gonna start at verse 14. It says, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. It said, for that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that I do not. But what I hate, that I do. And he, like I say, he's going into the battle between the flesh and the spirit, man. All right, cause we understand that these laws are spiritual, but he was saying he was in the flesh, man. So he was talking about the battle between the flesh and the spirit. All right, so the things that he said, for that which I do, I allow not. So the things that his body was desiring and his flesh was desiring, he is something his spirit was against, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so see, he was talking about that battle, man. And like I said, it's not a easy battle, all right. But being a man of the Lord is just something you got to deal with. It's something you got to conquer, man. All right. If you can't conquer your fleshly demons now, how do you expect to do it in that day, man?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. I'm gonna get this in Matthew, because you hear the point. It's Matthew 26 and 41. And it reads. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. It said the spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. All right. So your spirit wants you to do the right thing. All right. But sometimes this flesh, the desires of this flesh are sometimes they are overwhelming. All right. And then you will talk yourself into, all right, fulfilling no desire. All right. Your woman, it's a Shabbat. Your woman laying next to you looking all good. Your flesh is like, go on, get a man of the Lord. He understands, all right, instead of just saying no, So you have to really fight. And those are things that I've actually had to battle, in my past. Now, I'm past that point. But those are battles that I had to fight. All right, and when I first came into the truth, so I understand those things are there, and I'm not just that, just period. You know, it's just whether should I play a game or should I study, or should I do a video, or should I go hang out, you know. So it's really a battle, a day in and day out, 24/7, 365. It's a battle within yourself. All right, so you have to look at yourself and tell this flesh no, nah. All right, because you have to separate the two, the flesh and the spirit. All right, because this body is jacked up, and this body is going to be done away with. But this body that we're in now wants the things of this world. All right, what you got?
God, it's the book of, it's a quick one. The book of Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 16. It said, "This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." It's like I got a little cough. But it says, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. That's why it's important to, try to stay involved, man. All right, in the scriptures, man. All right, stay involved in the scriptures, man. Walk in the spirit, being around brothers, man. All right, that's what's gonna help you build up your spirit, man, so that you, those fleshly desires are pushed to the back. All right, it's not something that's constantly weighing on the forefront of your mind. All right, because the spirit is there, man. All right.
Oh yeah, you go down to read 17.
Okay. It says, "For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary to one another, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would." All right, but so like we were saying, those two are complete polar opposites, man. All right, you can look at it like the flesh being of this world, man. All right, and the spirit being of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, man. They're two polar opposites. All right. So, that's why it said they contrary to one another, man. All right, and it's always gonna be a battle, man. All right, they're like arch nemesis, man. All right.
Yep. And if you go down to verse 19, it lists, all right, some of these fleshly desires, man. All right, so it's a long. When you come to the truth, it's not for the weak. All right, it's not. You have to have thick skin. All right, and you have to have a lot of discipline. All right, when you come to the truth, you have to have a lot of discipline, because this thing right here, cutting out. You done grew up in this flesh your whole life, and cutting all that off, that's a battle. That's an uphill battle that you have to face daily. And each brother have his own different vice. All right, what's easy to this brother might be hard to this brother, and what's hard to this brother might be easy to this brother. Each brother got their own thing that they're battling every day. So just keep each other in prayer. All right, daily. I got I'm gonna go to Colossians chapter 3. I'm gonna start at verse 1, and it reads. Let me see. It says, "If ye then be risen with Hamashiach, seek those things which are above, where Hamashiach sitteth at the right hand of Yahweh. Set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth." All right, because all this is going to be done away with. All right, so right now you should be setting your mind on the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Even though the kingdom is within us, we're waiting for the physical manifestation, all right, of the kingdom of heaven, man, where everything is going to be put back in order. Verse 3 said, "For ye are dead."
Oh, can I get that word affection?
Yeah, come on.
This that word affection in the Edom. All right, it says desire, inclination, wish, or intention, an emotion of the mind, passion, lust, as opposed to reason. All right, so it says set your affection on things above. All right, so set your desire, man. I'm gonna replace that, that word with one of the words in the definition.
Synonym, man.
Yep. It says set your affection or your desire or your intentions to on things that above, man. All right. That's why I always bring out, the book of Psalms chapter 1. All right, about how when your mind is on the light, on the law of the Lord, it talks about how you will be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, man. All right, so a tree planted by the rivers of water is never gonna have a dry season, man. All right, it's always gonna reap fruit, all right, and bring forth fruit. All right, so going back to that Colossians 3, that's why I said set your affection on things above, man.
That's your desire, boy. That's an inside joke. All right, verse 3, it says, For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Hamashiach and Yahweh. It said, when Hamashiach, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory. All right, because that's the main goal. All right, is to be part of the elect. All right, we're praying and hoping, all right, that we're part of the elect. All right, and that's why we're doing the things necessary. All right, like not being a slave to pleasure. All right, not being a slave to these fleshly desires. All right, not saying that you're going to be 100% with this, man, but you got to try your best. You know, it says, verse 5 said, mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth. All right, and it goes into a list of things, all right, that you got to, you know, fight against daily. All right. So, and verse 7, I'm going to skip down to verse 7. It says, in which ye also walked sometime when you lived in them, because we were once part of this world. All right. And like I said, we were doing these things, but as we, all right, came into the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and started learning these precepts, all right, and start putting on the ways of Yahweh Shai, all right, we start being less, all right, we start not fulfilling the lust of this flesh. We start doing what, following the spirit, all right. Things became, daily become a little easier if you got some fight in you, you know. You got anything else?
No.
All right, so, you know, we at the plantation. We just want to knock out a little quick lesson, man. All right, and it's just don't be a pleasure, a slave to pleasure, man. All right, we are slaves to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right. So with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, and we want to give all praise going on to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Kakodash. All right, Shalom.
Shalom.